Have you ever wondered what secrets someone could hide behind the perfect smile, behind the public glamour, behind the palace walls? What if the very image the world adores is a mask, and the truth lurking beneath it is far darker than anyone could imagine? That is exactly what's unfolding right now with Meghan Markle, a woman whose name alone commands headlines, but whose life, according to one shocking source, is filled with secrets that could shake the royal family to its core. And today, you are going to hear it all. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It all began with a confrontation. Not a casual conversation, not an offhand comment in the press, but a full-on, heart-stopping confrontation that left Meghan in tears. The kind of confrontation that could rewrite the narrative everyone has believed about her. Angela, a name that had long been whispered in certain circles but never brought to light, stepped forward with allegations that sounded too scandalous to be true, yet too precise to ignore. "I will expose your dirty shit, bitch," she said, her voice trembling with both anger and determination. The world paused. Everyone knew. This wasn't idle gossip. This was personal. This was deliberate. And it was only the beginning. Angela claims that Meghan's past isn't the polished, fairy tale story most people have come to admire. She says there were adult games involving multiple men, and that these actions were financially motivated. Imagine it. The woman who married a prince, who walked through palace halls with grace, who captured hearts across continents, allegedly lived a life filled with secrets that would shock even the most jaded royal watcher. The allegations are bold, and they come at a time when Meghan's every move is scrutinized. But why now? Why Angela? And what could possibly drive someone to reveal such intimate and damaging details at this precise moment? From the moment Angela made her first statements public, the world of tabloids and social media erupted. Every platform, every feed, every gossip column spun with speculation. Was this credible? Was it revenge? Or was it something deeper, a truth hidden under layers of charm, ambition, and careful curation of public image? If these claims are true, then the narrative the public has clung to, Meghan as the modern princess, the voice of empowerment, the symbol of breaking tradition, is incomplete. There's a shadow side, a hidden chapter of her life that few have dared to explore. And Angela claims she knows every detail. But let's pause for a moment. Before you decide whether to believe these allegations, consider the stakes. Meghan isn't just any public figure. She is royalty, married to a man whose family is perhaps the most scrutinized in the world. Every revelation about her doesn't just affect her. It ripples across the monarchy, the media, and the public consciousness. One rumor could ignite outrage. One confirmation could trigger a scandal so large it dominates headlines for weeks, maybe months. And Angela is promising more than just rumors. She promises proof, documents, messages, perhaps images, that back up her claims. The tension is palpable. The world is watching, waiting for the next move. Think about this. If someone had lived a double life, could the world ever reconcile the glamorous present with a controversial past? What if the image carefully constructed over years of interviews, charity work, and public appearances was masking something else entirely? And what about Harry, the prince who stood by her side, who believed in her completely? How would he react if he were to see this part of her life revealed not by tabloids, but by someone claiming intimate knowledge, someone who had been there at the right or wrong moments? The questions are endless, and each one grows heavier than the last. And yet, amidst all this drama, there's a very human element, emotion. Angela's revelations are not merely factual claims. They are laced with betrayal, anger, and judgment. Meghan's reaction, as reported by those who claim to have witnessed it, is nothing short of visceral. Tears streamed down her face, shoulders slumped, eyes wide with shock and hurt. This is a woman who has been in the public eye for years, who has learned to maintain composure under intense scrutiny, and yet, confronted with allegations of her most private moments, she faltered. She wept. And in that moment, the world was reminded that behind every headline, behind every glamorous photograph, behind every polished public statement, there is a person, vulnerable, human, capable of pain, shame, and fear. But what really makes this story explosive isn't just the allegations themselves. It's the timing, the stakes, and the personalities involved. The royal family has faced scandals before, but rarely has the public been presented with claims of this nature, coming from someone who knows the subject personally, who speaks with such conviction, and who threatens to expose the most intimate details of a person's life. The potential fallout is monumental. Reputations, relationships, and even careers could hang in the balance. And Angela is not backing down. She is not playing coy. She is declaring, loudly and clearly, that what she knows will change the conversation entirely, forever. As we move forward, it's important to recognize that this story isn't just about scandal for scandal's sake. It's about power, image, and perception. It's about what society expects from women in the public eye, especially those who marry into royalty. And it's about truth, or at least, someone's version of it. Angela's allegations force us to ask uncomfortable questions. Can someone ever fully escape their past? Can wealth, status, and influence shield a person from exposure? And most importantly, how much of the image we hold of someone is real, and how much is carefully constructed? Even if you followed Meghan's story for years, you might find yourself reconsidering everything you thought you knew. From her early career, her public persona, and her rise to global prominence, to the private life she allegedly led before marrying Prince Harry, the layers are more complex than most people realize. Angela's revelations, if true, could shift the entire narrative, forcing a reckoning not just for Meghan, but for the royal family, the media, and the public itself. The world is a stage, and every secret, every past action, every private choice, even those made behind closed doors, can eventually come to light. And here's the tension that keeps this story gripping. Angela isn't finished. She has hinted that the revelations will go deeper, that there are details that the public simply isn't prepared for yet. Every claim she has made builds towards something bigger, something potentially devastating. And while Meghan's tears are the visible, human response to these allegations, the undercurrents of fear, anger, and urgency suggest that the story is far from over. One cannot help but wonder, what else is hidden? What else might emerge once the floodgates are opened? By now, you may be asking yourself, what happens next? How does one confront such explosive allegations, especially when they involve intimate aspects of someone's life? How does the world process a truth that is so controversial, so potentially damaging, yet so specific in its accusations? Angela's next move promises to be critical, and the implications are enormous. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the tension is unbearable. The world waits, watches, and wonders what the next chapter of this unfolding saga will reveal. But here's the question that hangs over everything. If the allegations are true, how will Meghan reconcile her past with the life she has built? How will Harry and the rest of the royal family respond to revelations that could shake their world to its foundations? And what about the public? The millions who have followed, admired, and supported her? These questions aren't merely rhetorical. They are the beating heart of this story, the engine driving every dramatic twist that has yet to come. It all started with a single message. A simple, unassuming line of text that would ignite a firestorm, the kind of spark that can change lives in an instant. On the surface, it looked harmless, a ping in a chat, another notification on Meghan's phone. But beneath it lay the weight of accusation, the kind of claim that makes your heart skip a beat and your stomach drop. Angela had reached out, and she didn't just want to talk. She wanted to confront. Meghan remembers the moment vividly, the sudden tightness in her chest, the sinking feeling that comes when you know that someone knows more than they should. Angela's words weren't polite. They weren't sugar-coated. They were direct, venomous, impossible to ignore. "I will expose your dirty shit, bitch," the message read. 3 short, devastating lines that carried years of anger, betrayal, and something darker, the promise of exposure. Meghan's first reaction was disbelief. Who was Angela to speak like this? What could she possibly know? But deep down, a quiet voice whispered a terrifying truth. Angela knew more than she should. And she wasn't bluffing. The confrontation wasn't just digital. It escalated quickly to a face-to-face meeting, the kind of encounter that leaves people breathless. Imagine 2 women, both strong, both determined, standing in a room thick with tension. Every glance, every movement, every word carried meaning. The air was electric, the kind that makes it hard to breathe. Meghan's heart pounded, her mind raced, and yet she tried to maintain composure. The composure that had seen her through red carpets, interviews, and countless public appearances. Angela's presence was formidable. She didn't come with fear in her eyes. She came with fire. Her gaze was sharp, calculating, unwavering. "I've watched you carefully," she said, her voice a blend of controlled rage and icy calm. "And I know everything. Everything you thought was buried is about to see the light." Meghan felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't about rumors. This wasn't idle gossip. This was personal. The room was silent for a long moment, thick with unspoken accusations and mutual tension. Meghan tried to speak, tried to ask what she meant, but Angela cut her off. "Don't act innocent. Don't pretend I don't know what you've done. You played your games, Meghan. You think the world only sees the princess, but I see the truth." Every word Angela spoke was deliberate, precise, and meant to wound. Meghan's mind raced. The embarrassment, the fear, the desperation. She was trapped, facing a storm she hadn't anticipated. What Angela claimed was shocking. She spoke of a past life, one that the public had never glimpsed. A life filled with adult games, manipulations, and calculated encounters with multiple men. A life allegedly driven by ambition and financial gain. Long before the world knew Meghan as the Duchess, the global icon, the woman who would marry Prince Harry. The allegations were vivid, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. Every sentence Angela spoke seemed designed to dismantle the image Meghan had carefully built, to strip away the facade and expose a raw, controversial truth. Meghan's initial instinct was denial, as anyone's would be. She tried to refute, to push back, to reclaim the narrative. But Angela's approach was methodical. She didn't just throw accusations into the air. She laid them out systematically, with details that were unnervingly specific. Each revelation was a psychological strike, each hint at the past a reminder that secrets have a way of coming back to haunt you. Meghan realized quickly that this wasn't a simple confrontation. This was an ambush. The emotional toll was immediate. Tears formed unbidden in Meghan's eyes. Her usual poise crumbled under the weight of shock and hurt. How could someone come after her like this, armed with knowledge she thought long buried? How could Angela, a person she had known casually at best, hold such power over her narrative? It wasn't just the allegations themselves. It was the audacity, the precision, the certainty with which Angela delivered them. The combination was devastating. Angela paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Meghan struggled for a response, any response. But nothing felt adequate. Nothing could erase the sting of the claims, the implication that her carefully curated past was anything but pristine. Angela's eyes held a spark, part accusation, part triumph. It was the look of someone who believed they held the upper hand, who knew secrets that could change everything. Meghan felt cornered, exposed, and vulnerable. Audience, imagine this scenario. You're in a room with someone who claims they know your most private moments, your most intimate decisions, your deepest secrets, and they're prepared to tell the world. How would you react? Panic? Anger? Denial? Meghan felt every emotion at once, her mind spinning with fear and disbelief. The confrontation wasn't just about reputation. It was about truth, perception, and survival. One wrong move, one misstep, and the narrative could spiral completely out of her control. Angela didn't stop there. She described instances, encounters, and choices from Meghan's alleged past with unnerving clarity. She spoke of motivations, of financial transactions, of calculated decisions that she claimed Meghan made with precision. The room seemed to shrink with the weight of the revelations. Every word Angela uttered was a stone thrown at the walls of Meghan's public persona. Every detail chipped away at the image the world had embraced. And then came the moment that broke through the final barrier. Angela leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper that carried more threat than any shout could. "I'm not done. And when I'm finished, the world will know everything. Every choice, every game, every secret you thought was buried. I'll expose it all." Meghan's heart raced. Her tears were no longer just sadness. They were a cocktail of fear, anger, and disbelief. The confrontation had escalated from a verbal clash to an emotional siege. But even in the midst of this storm, Meghan's mind worked. She thought about Harry, about the family, about the life she had carefully built. Could this be managed? Could it be contained? Angela had made it clear, containment was no longer an option. Once the truth, as Angela saw it, was unleashed, there would be no turning back. The tension in the room was palpable. Every second stretched longer than the last. Meghan's tears streaked her cheeks, a visible symbol of vulnerability that no public appearance had ever captured. Angela, on the other hand, remained composed, almost cold, as though she were playing a game that Meghan didn't fully understand. Every word, every pause, every gesture was deliberate, designed to keep Meghan off balance. The confrontation ended, but the consequences were just beginning. Meghan's world had shifted in an instant. What Angela had revealed, what she had hinted at, and the sheer confidence with which she delivered it, all signaled a narrative that was about to explode beyond anyone's control. Every decision Meghan made from that moment on would be colored by this encounter. Every public appearance, every interview, every interaction would now carry the shadow of Angela's words.